Hi everyone, welcome back to Frugal Watchbox channel. Today we're taking a look at my Casio A171WE after a full year of ownership. I picked this watch up for just $25, and let me tell you, it's been on quite a journey. One of the main reasons I bought this watch was for its vintage charm. That round case and silver stainless steel bracelet scream, 1970s retro cool. Like something straight off the wrist of a guy adjusting the rabbit ear antenna on his wood panel TV. It's got that unmistakable old-school Casio vibe. Simple, stylish, and slightly reminiscent of a time when digital watches were considered futuristic gadgets. Not just another piece of nostalgia for people who still remember rotary phones. When I first got it, I wore it daily, whether for casual outings, work, or even the occasional formal event where I wanted to look classy without spending more than the price of a takeout meal. I never took it into manual labor, but judging by the scratches on the case, bezel, glass, and bracelet, you think I fought a bear with it. Now, here's the kicker. I've already had to change the battery once. This is surprising, considering the CR 2016 is supposed to last 7 years. Either Casio is overly optimistic about battery life, or I unknowingly bought a new old stock unit that had been chilling in a warehouse for the better part of a decade. Makes sense, considering this watch is about as retro as it gets. So, after a year of wear, how has the A171WE held up? Is it still a great budget-friendly option, or has it aged like an old VHS tape left in the sun? Let's find out. Now, let's check out the case dimensions before we dive any deeper, because size matters, especially when we're talking about wristwatches. The case measures 37.7 millimeters, which keeps it nice and compact, perfect for those who appreciate a more vintage-sized watch. Lug to lug, it's 38.8 millimeters, so it wears just as small as you'd expect from an old-school Casio. If you got slim wrists, this one won't look like a dinner plate strapped to your arm. With a thickness of just 9.2 millimeters, it's flatter than my enthusiasm for overpriced luxury watches, meaning it slides easily under a cuff, if you're the type to dress up. The lug width is around 18 millimeters, so swapping out the bracelet for a NATO or leather strap is an option. Though let's be real, the stock bracelet is half the charm. And finally, at just 44 grams, this thing is light. So light that sometimes you might forget you're even wearing a watch, until you glance down and remember that it's still ticking along, just like Casio intended. Alright, now that we've covered the specs, let's move on to the design, build quality, and, of course, how it's held up over the past year. The case, bezel, and even the glass are made of resin, which means this watch is basically a lightweight tank, if that tank was made of plastic. Over the past year, it has picked up some scratches, but hey, I like to think of them as character marks. Some people pay extra for distressed jeans. I just let my watch naturally age like a fine. Well, maybe not wine, more like a well-loved Game Boy. Now let's talk about the buttons. There are only 3 metal ones because Casio keeps things simple. No fancy crown, no extra fluff, just the essentials. Right side, 1 button, which pulls double duty for start/stop functions and switching between 12/24-hour time formats. It's the go-to button for when you want to time something or pretend you know military time. Left side, 2 buttons because balance is important. Top button handles the LED light, which we'll talk about later, and also functions as the lap/reset button for the stopwatch. Bottom button, the mode button, which lets you cycle through the watch's handful of features: time, alarm, stopwatch, and of course, back to time. It's all straightforward, no surprises, no gimmicks, just classic Casio functionality in a retro-styled package. The crystal, despite picking up some scratches over the past year, still looks pretty good, kind of like an old car windshield that's been through a few road trips, but still does the job just fine. You can still read the time clearly, and that's what matters, right? Now, let's check out the dial. Casio kept things simple, but stylish. A gray circle surrounds the black dial, giving it a bit of contrast. A thin white line encircles the LCD display panel, like a subtle border to keep everything looking neat. The Casio logo proudly sits at the top, because of course branding. Below that, you get the alarm chrono imprint, letting you know this watch isn't just for telling time. It's got some extra tricks up its sleeve. At the bottom, you'll find water WR resist, Casio's way of reminding you that, yes, this watch can handle a few splashes, but let's not go deep sea diving with it. On the inner panel, the word lithium is printed in blue on the top right, because Casio really wanted you to know what powers this thing. Now, onto the LCD display, which keeps things well organized. From left to right, you get small indicators for alarm, hourly time signal, day, and date, helpful little icons that let you know what features you've turned on. Below that, you get the big, bold digits for hours, minutes, and seconds because nobody wants to squint just to check the time. The indicators light up depending on your preferences and settings. So, if you're one of those people who loves alarms, you'll see a few extra icons hanging out. And as for viewing angles, surprisingly good. Whether you're looking at it straight on or from slight angle, the digits remain readable. No weird fading or distortion, unlike some budget digital watches that disappear when you tilt them slightly, as if they're playing hide and seek. So far, so good. Now, let's move on to the bracelet and overall comfort. The stainless steel bracelet, though scratched up from a year of wear, still looks surprisingly good. Kind of like a well-loved leather jacket that just gets better with age. I never swap it out because, honestly, the retro charm is half the reason I bought this watch in the first place. Casio did a solid job here. The bracelet is sturdy and long-lasting, exactly what you'd expect from their signature build quality. It features a classic Oyster-style design, though with smaller, flat links that give it a clean and timeless look. Unlike some cheap metal bracelets that feel like they might fall apart if you sneeze too hard, this one holds up well over time. The adjustable clasp makes sizing a breeze. No need for special tools or a trip to the watch shop. You can tweak it yourself with a little patience. And despite all the scratches, the Casio logo on the clasp is still visible and holding up well. It's a little battle-worn, but hey, that just adds character. It's like a badge of honor for a watch that's been through daily wear and still keeps ticking. Flipping the bracelet over, you'll find a serial number stamped on both ends, a nice little detail that confirms Casio's quality and authenticity. It's always reassuring to see those small touches that remind you this isn't some knockoff, it's the real deal. And on the underside of the adjustable clasp, you'll spot the stainless steel imprint, another sign of Casio's attention to detail. Even though this is a budget-friendly watch, they didn't cut corners. It's little things like this that make you appreciate the brand's consistency. Whether you're wearing a $25 Casio or one of their pricier models, you're still getting a solid, well-made piece. Turning the watch over, the scratched stainless steel case back tells the story of a year well spent. It's got that seasoned traveler look, worn but still holding strong. And like all Casio digital watches, it comes with the usual imprints that confirm its authenticity. Here's what you'll find engraved on the back. Casio logo right at the top, making sure you know who's responsible for this little timekeeping machine. WR logo, reassuring you that this watch can handle a few splashes, just don't take it swimming. Module and model numbers, essential for any future battery changes or if you need to look up a manual. Not that most of us ever do. Water resistant. It has 30 meters water resistance. Casio's way of reminding you that while it's not dive ready, it won't freak out over a little rain. Stainless steel back, because even though the case is resin, Casio made sure the part touching your wrist is the real deal. Made in Thailand, proving its origin and build quality. And finally, the DH imprint, which could be a factory code or some secret Casio message that only hardcore collectors understand. Despite the scratches, everything is still clearly visible. It's the kind of case back that won't win any beauty contests, but it's built to last, just like the watch itself. The alarm is, well, let's just say it's there. It's not too loud, not too soft, but definitely not going to wake you up if you sleep like a rock. It works fine in a quiet room, but if you're in a noisy environment, good luck hearing it. Casio could definitely improve it a bit. Maybe give it a little more oomph so it doesn't sound like a polite notification from a 90s pager. Now let's talk about the LED backlight, or as I like to call it, Casio's missed opportunity. It's a dim green glow that only illuminates the left side of the panel, leaving the right side feeling neglected. Try to read the time in the dark is like using a candle to light up a football field. It technically works, but barely. And here's the kicker. The Casio A171WE, which is a blatant copy of the A171WE, actually has a better EL backlight. Yep, the imitation outshines the original. Literally. Casio, if you're listening, don't let Casio flex on you like this. You've been making digital watches longer than most of us have been alive, so there's no excuse for getting shown up by a budget knockoff. With a case size of 37.7 millimeters and a lug-to-lug of 38.8 millimeters, this watch is a perfect match for my 6.5-inch wrist. That's exactly why I gravitate towards smaller watches. They sit well, don't look oversized, and feel incredibly comfortable. No awkward overhang. No looking like I borrowed a watch from a giant, just a nice, snug fit. At only 44 grams, it's lightweight enough that you almost forget you're wearing it. Whether for casual wear, work, or even a slightly dressier occasion, the retro charm and compact size make it an easy daily option. If you have smaller wrists and prefer a watch that doesn't feel bulky, the A171WE nails the proportions. Despite its simple design, this watch still packs in some classic Casio functionality. Here's what it offers. Stopwatch, 1/100-second precision, which is pretty decent for timing things down to the fraction of a second. Measuring capacity, 59 minutes, 59.99 seconds, so it won't work for timing a marathon, but it's fine for most daily needs. Measuring modes includes elapsed time, split time, and first to second place times, so if you ever feel the need to pretend you're officiating a race, you can. Alarm and hourly time signal. Daily alarm. Not the loudest, but good for small reminders. Hourly time signal. Great if you like getting a tiny beep every hour to remind you that time is still moving, whether you're being productive or not. Light, LED backlight, green, which, as we already discussed, is a bit of a disappointment. It's dim and only lights up the left side, making nighttime readability a challenge. Calendar, auto calendar, preset for 28 days in February, so you'll need to adjust for leap years, but otherwise, it keeps track of dates without needing manual corrections. Accuracy, plus or minus 30 seconds per month, which is standard for Casio quartz watches. In real-world use, that means you might need to adjust the time every few months, but it's still way more accurate than a mechanical watch at this price. Other features, 12/24 hour format, so whether you prefer military time or the standard AM/PM setup, it's got you covered. Regular timekeeping, displays hour, minute, second, PM indicator, date, and day of the week. Everything you need at a glance. Who is this watch for? The Casio A171WE is perfect for retro lovers. If you appreciate the classic digital watch style of the 70s and 80s, this one brings back all the nostalgia. Small wrist folks. With its compact 37.7 millimeters case, it sits perfectly on smaller wrists without looking oversized. Casio collectors. If you enjoy collecting affordable, timeless Casio designs, this is another fun piece to add to your lineup. Budget-conscious buyers. For around $25, you get a stylish, reliable, and practical watch that's built to last. Casual wearers. Whether for work, casual outings, or even a bit of a dressy look, the silver stainless steel bracelet and round case make it versatile enough to match different outfits. Anyone who needs a simple digital watch. It tells the time clearly, keeps good accuracy, and has a few useful features without being overly complicated. If you fit into any of these categories, the A171WE is a solid choice. But if you need a brighter backlight, a louder alarm, or better water resistance, you might want to check out some other options in Casio's lineup. Final thoughts. After a year of use, the Casio A171WE has proven itself as a solid, stylish, and reliable digital watch. It's got a nostalgic design, lightweight comfort, and classic Casio durability, all while staying incredibly affordable. Sure, the backlight could be better, and the alarm isn't the loudest, but for the price, it's hard to complain. If you love retro digital watches and want something affordable, easy to wear, and full of classic Casio charm, this is a great pick. Just don't expect to use it as a flashlight. Would I still recommend it after a year? Absolutely. It's a budget-friendly, no-fuss timepiece that does its job and looks cool while doing it. That's a wrap. I think that's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, please consider subscribing and giving a like. It really helps out the channel. And hey, if you want to support the channel, check out the Frugal Watchbox merch. Every purchase helps keep these reviews coming. See you again in the next one. Bye for now.